Relieved that it worked, but also I'm really happy. Everything went fairly smoothly. You know, it wouldn't have been possible without Cassidy Fritts, who was assisting me. But I feel great. I mean, I think it's definitely the biggest thing I've ever worked on, which was wonderful and terrifying and challenging, and it really kind of stretched the limits of my practice in a way that I feel really happy for. So I feel really good. What does it mean to me? To me, this project is, you know, it means the kind of culmination of the last 10 years of work and research into, you know, my ideas, but also my kind of technical ability. Meaning that, you know, I didn't learn how to paint murals in school. I didn't learn how to make, you know, paintings this large anywhere. I learned how to do it from other muralists, from people that I met just through happenstance that, you know, paint murals, from graffiti writers, from people like Cassidy who paint murals in the community. You know, that's how I learned how to paint at this scale. And so it's just like, you know, 5 to 10 years of just work in this painting, because it took every ounce of knowledge I had, and then even then we were stretched to figure out new things and new ways to work just because of the sheer scale of the thing. So it really does mean a lot to me in that sense, but it also means, you know, that, you know, all of my planning worked out, that like the relationships of color that I was playing with worked out. So yeah, that's what it means. Yeah, so I think we've been seeing how it affects people just as we've been making the mural. And to me, that's really a testament to the power of just colors and how our eyes see color and how we interact with color in the world. You know, it's overwhelming to come in here and see this much color on one wall. I don't think I've ever seen it before, really. Certainly not on an interior space like this. It's really kind of a, you know, wow moment, I think, when you walk in here. Even just coming in here in the morning, sometimes I was like, I cannot believe we're doing this, that they're letting us do something so fun and so bright. So that's kind of the first thing, is I think the colors, you know, are a little overwhelming, and they're designed to be that way. There's, you know, a blue and a orange that are vibrating. There's a green over here that is just like exploding because of the red and the blue. And then you can see the actual interaction of that red with a different color on the other side. It's kind of, this isn't a full bore color, you know, it's a house paint, so it's a little bit of a white tone. It's a dusty orange. But here it just looks like so neon and wild because of the blue and because of the green. And that's kind of just a huge part of my practice, is seeing how colors interact together. So, you know, it's fun to be able to then go to the other side and have it next to this like buttery, weird nacho yellow that then kind of like tones it down, and now you can see that it's a little bit more dusty and see a different version of the color, even though it is very much the exact same paint. So those are the kinds of things that I'm really interested to see if people notice. Like, but I think I'm just excited for people to have a place that is this colorful and bright. That's, you know, a place where you can, there'll be couches here, you can sit down, read. That's really exciting to me, and really nice for people to just be able to exist with this work. So this is by far the largest mural I've ever worked on, and the whole thing was a challenge, basically. You know, I did a lot of planning in terms of the paint, not just the color, but the coverage that I would get. You know, this is kind of getting a little technical, but, you know, we didn't want to make more work for ourselves than we needed to. And so you start having to think about, you know, what paints will I use, what colors. There's different paints that have a lot more pigmentation, that have a lot more chalk content, which is what a lot of house paint has, which just means that it covers a lot more. You don't have to paint over and over again. But then you make certain sacrifices for certain colors, you know. So this green right behind me, we had to paint it back to white, and then we painted it 4 times. So, you know, there's these really technical considerations that you have to make when you're planning something like this. So all of that I knew coming in. What I didn't know was, you know, I'd never worked at this size, so little things that you would imagine would be, you know, pretty simple to accomplish, like taking a measurement, become like an ordeal, because you can't just take a tape measure and measure something that's this big. So, you know, we came up with different kinds of solutions. We used new tools to do that. You know, we didn't reinvent the wheel, but we were teaching ourselves new things, which to me is kind of the best part about being an artist, is that you're constantly having to teach yourself new things. But when it came down to it, I just had to kind of lean on the things I already knew. So, you know, we painted this entire wall red first. This wall is red underneath all of this, as is the balcony. And just painting the wall red took 2 days, you know, 2 12-hour long days. And then we had a giant red wall. And then I had to make some decisions, like what is the next step? But in my practice, the core of everything is always a drawing. You know, there's always a drawing at the core of everything. And so, you know, we were here for a couple of hours just kind of trying to figure out what to do, and I just decided to make the drawing like I always do. And so we drew the entire mural for the next day. We drew every single shape. We drew the arches, the doorways, you know, we just made a giant drawing on this 25-foot by 50-foot wall, which obviously I'd never done before. And it was the funnest part of it, honestly, like just to sit here and make a drawing on a giant, giant drawing. And, you know, we had to come up with some pretty low-tech solutions for that to make the patterning of these blue swirls and organic shapes. We made a big stencil that we were running up and down the lift, just tracing. So, you know, there was like just getting back to basics at certain points. Instead of trying to, you know, think of some technological or high-tech solution, it really just came down to really basic drawing skills. I think, you know, there was some personal insights and revelations that emerged for sure. I am always kind of surprised at the amount of labor that artwork takes. It's really kind of, even though I do it, you know, all the time, it's always kind of incredible how much work we have to do to make the things that we make, and how much a project like this takes the work of not just me, but the entire museum staff. It has been so wonderful to just exist here for the last 2 weeks and to meet, you know, everyone on facilities, everyone in security, everyone at front desk, and to kind of, you know, understand how it takes every single person here to make this place work. But also that means to me that it took everyone to make this thing happen, because, you know, it's me and my assistant Cassidy on the lifts painting, but, you know, the team was refilling our water, making sure people weren't, you know, coming over, and, you know, we had this big machinery we were on, and they're keeping other people safe, they're keeping us safe. You know, there's facilities that we're cleaning up after our little messes that we made, and it's really not possible just to make artwork like this on your own. It really takes a big community of people, and so it's been so nice to, you know, have that revelation here in the museum with everyone, with people that are so lovely and who I respect so much. So that was a big revelation. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, it depends. It's such a funny question. It depends, you know, sometimes I'm in my like pop girl moment and I'll be listening to like Charlie XCX or something. Sometimes I just need to go like into the cumbia zone and just have that propulsive beat over and over again going. And then, you know, sometimes I get into my sad girl moment and I need to listen to some like beach house or something, or, you know, there's a range of emotions. Like a project like this is so massive, and, you know, there's times where you're like, all right, let's go, I'm so excited, and there's times where you're like, wow, like I'm tired, I've been on my feet for 12 hours, I'm on a lift or a ladder, and, you know, I'm not sure when this is gonna end. So it really does depend on what the moment calls for, but, you know, there's always kind of an answer through music, I feel like, yeah.